All right, all questions covered. Let's get into this. All right. So the next article we're going to cover today is the 5 common mistakes people make when cash stuffing. This is also known as the envelope method for savings if you are unsure what cash stuffing is. So, this is by Ivana Pino on Yahoo Finance. So, from skincare routines to refrigerator restocks, there's always a new trend on TikTok that's quick to grab our attention. Lately, it's been cash stuffing, with videos showcasing budgets neatly organize their income into labeled envelopes and budget binders as they go over their spending categories and available balances. So, it's also known as the envelope budgeting method. All right, they put it here. But cash stuffing is a popular budgeting method that involves withdrawing paychecks from your bank account and dividing that cash into envelopes for each of your spending categories. So there are some issues with this, but let's see what this article gets into, and then we'll add some commentary on there. This person here, RJ Weiss, says I've recommended the envelope method for years to people who tend to overspend in certain areas. Doesn't have to apply your entire budget. Yeah, so the envelope method is really good for people who lack discipline. People who need to actually see physical dollars that they're able to spend coming and going. Your hope is to actually outgrow this. This adds a lot of steps to your financial life. It's kind of tedious. It has a very deep and meaningful impact if you implement it properly. It just takes a lot of work, especially if you have multiple envelopes that you're using for different spending needs. So let's go ahead and look at some of the 5 mistakes. Not keeping your cash in a safe place. Walking around with a large amount of cash could put you at risk of loss or theft. If you're going to start cash stuffing, it's important that you only carry around the cash you plan to use for that day's purchases and store the rest of your envelopes in a safe place, such as an FDIC insured checking or savings account. Well, then you're not really keeping cash, no? Right? So now you're adding another step if you follow that by having to go like every day to spend cash. But if you have a safe or somewhere else that is safe to store your cash, that is another option as well. Number 2, not accounting for digital expenses. In a digital world, going cash only can be tricky. So many bills and recurring payments from cell phone providers, utility companies, and subscription services are now typically done cashless. Well, yeah, this isn't really how the envelope method is for. It's generally for purchases that you make out in the real world, not your digital purchases, because otherwise you're taking out cash, looking at your digital purchases, and then putting your cash back in to pay for those digital services. So probably the envelope method is probably not the best way to take care of your digital expenses. Let's see here. Okay. Dipping into other spending categories. If you have to dip into other envelopes to cover your expenses, it's a sign you should reevaluate the amount you're setting aside for each spending category. Borrowing money from other categories can make it difficult to track how much you're actually spending. Take some time to review each spending category and rework the dollar amounts so that they are more aligned with what you realistically spend each month. Okay, this isn't a bad idea, but really the envelope method should be the maximum amount you are allowing yourself to spend. So if you every month want to be able to spend $100 on, I don't know, video games or whatever it is, you cannot go above what's in the envelope. Now, what some people will do is they want to be able to spend $100 per month on, going out with friends or buying certain things. Well, they know that they want to spend more coming up or just the ability to spend more coming up. So then they don't spend the full 100, leave it in the envelope, add a new 100 at the next interval, and now they have more money to spend on something bigger. But the main thing about the envelope method and the reason it works is because that is a hard cap. You cannot spend more than what's in the envelope. Ignoring your savings account. While assigning number 4, ignoring your savings account. While assigning every dollar to an envelope is the foundation of the cash stuffing method, it does prevent your extra funds from earning interest and growing over time. This is why cash stuffing, while effective, should be a short-term budgeting method to help you get your finances on track, not a long-term wealth building strategy. For example, say you keep 1,000 in an envelope for savings. If you were to put that money in a high yield savings account at 4% APY, you'd have an extra $40 at the end of the year, even without any additional contributions. That might not seem like much, but it's $40 you wouldn't have otherwise. And if you continue to contribute to your savings account regularly and grow that balance over time, your earnings will snowball thanks to compound interest. This isn't to say that the envelope method doesn't help you grow your savings. Watching your savings envelope grow bigger can certainly help motivate you to keep going. However, using this method long term does mean missing out on extra earnings and long term growth potential. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. This is a hopefully short term thing that you need to do to help you build the discipline so that your money can actually stay in other accounts and earn you more money. That is the ultimate goal, because even if it's just sitting there for a week or however long, that's still money that doesn't get to go back to you in the form of interest and things like that. So this should definitely be short term, and but if it's not, you just have to understand that you're missing out on that interest and be okay with it. And if that's the case, you probably need to be in a pretty decent income scenario. All right. Number 5, doing too much too soon. Envelope budgeting can be effective, but it isn't necessarily easy. It requires you to commit to an exact spending amount for each category and not a penny over. It's interesting, that's what I said. It did not say that earlier in the article. Some budgeters could find this journey to financial freedom limiting. It's absolutely limiting. That's the point. It is designed to force discipline on you to make it so that your other money can do what it needs to do and you're not dipping into that. The mistake I see most often is people trying to go all in right away. Weiss said, just start with 3 to 5 areas where you overspend, or even just one. The concept works, but if it's too much to maintain, you're not going to stick with it. Yeah, that's probably too much of a blanket statement. I've seen people with like 8 and they jump right into it because that's how their brain works. But you have to assess yourself. For a lot of people, the envelope method does become cumbersome. A lot of people choose one envelope as their just day-to-day spending money. They don't necessarily have a specific category. It's just when they're out in the world, they don't use their credit card, they put it on cash. So I've seen people take out quite a bit per paycheck that goes into the envelope, and then they're able to go out into the world. But once that envelope is empty, they no longer have spending money. So some people use that on eating out or entertainment, whatever it happens to be. And it really works for them because they know they have a specific dollar amount for a specific amount of time. If they run out of money in the envelope, it's over. They don't spend any more money. And that's really the only way that the envelope method works. I've also seen people who use the envelope method. They pull out, say, $500 a month. They go to spend it. And then when they run out, instead of not spending any more money, they just start to put stuff on the credit card. So it didn't really do anything for them. And then they have the double negative of they had cash that whole time, so it wasn't earning them any interest in a high yield savings account or similar account. So the envelope method is for a very specific person. If you lack discipline and you need help maintaining discipline and growing that muscle, then the envelope method really helps people out. It controls your spending, but it's still up to you to stick to that plan and not overspend.